If God really exists, then why this? Why the suffering, the pain, the evil? It's the hardest question faith will ever face, and today we're not running from it. Welcome to Faith Reflections 247. Today, we confront a question that has echoed through history and shaken the faith of many. Does the existence of evil and suffering prove that God isn't real or isn't good? This isn't just philosophy, it's personal. Because whether you've lost someone, faced injustice, battled depression, or just looked around at the chaos in the world, you've probably wondered, where is God in all this? Let's explore it, honestly, fearlessly, compassionately. The argument goes like this. 1. If God is all-powerful, he can stop suffering. 2. If God is all-loving, he would want to stop suffering. 3. But suffering and evil exist. So does that mean God doesn't? It's called the problem of evil, and it's a big one. But let's go deeper. The Bible doesn't ignore suffering. It begins with a story of paradise lost. In Genesis, humans were given freedom, love, purpose, but also the choice to reject God. And they did. Pain entered, death followed. Not because God wanted it, but because he gave humanity free will, and with free will comes real consequences. Romans 8 verse 22 says, "We know that the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to the present time. The world is broken, and we feel it." Here's the tough truth. A world where love is real must be a world where rejection is possible. You can't force someone to love you. Not even God does that. So, he gave us freedom. Freedom to choose love or hate, peace or violence, compassion or cruelty. And humanity often chooses poorly. But that freedom is also what makes love meaningful. But wait, what if God is already doing something about evil? In Jesus, God stepped into suffering. He didn't avoid pain. He was betrayed, tortured, and killed. Isaiah 53 verse 3 calls him a man of sorrows, acquainted with deepest grief. He didn't just watch the world suffer, he entered it. And through the resurrection, he promised a future where evil loses and justice wins. Revelation 21 verse 4 gives hope. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain. That's not denial. That's defiance against despair. Still, what about the hardest stuff? Natural disasters? Innocent children suffering? Honestly, we don't have all the answers. Even Job, a righteous man in the Bible who lost everything, was never told why. But God did show up. And maybe that's the point. Not that we always get an explanation, but that we're never abandoned in the pain. Could suffering do something in us? Romans 5 verses 3 to 4 says, "We rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character." Think of the people you respect most. How many were shaped in ease or in fire? Think of Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison and emerged not bitter, but as a beacon of reconciliation. Consider Malala Yousafzai, who was shot in the head by extremists simply for going to school, yet rose to become a global advocate for girls' education. Oprah Winfrey endured abuse and poverty to become one of the most influential media voices in the world. Martin Luther King Jr. faced arrests, threats, and assassination while fighting for civil rights. Corrie ten Boom survived a Nazi concentration camp after sheltering Jews during World War II and became a voice of forgiveness. From African to Asian, Western to Middle Eastern roots, their lives prove this. Greatness is not born in comfort, but refined in the fires of pain, injustice, and perseverance. Pain isn't good, but it can produce good, resilience, compassion, and faith that isn't shallow. Hebrews 5 verse 8 says, "Even Jesus learned obedience through the things he suffered." That's deep. Maybe this life isn't the whole story. C.S. Lewis once said, "If we find ourselves with a desire that nothing in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that we were made for another world. Evil and suffering remind us something's wrong here, and something better is coming. God hasn't lost control, he's just not finished yet. So, does evil disprove God? No. The very fact that we feel that evil is wrong suggests there is a standard of good, a standard that points to a moral creator. The real question isn't, why does God allow suffering? It's this: will I trust him, even in it? Because here's what Jesus promises: in this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. If this message touched you, share it with someone wrestling with their faith. Subscribe to Faith Reflections 247 for real talk, raw faith, and timeless hope. This world is hurting, but there's a Savior who hasn't stopped loving it. Stay strong, stay curious, stay anchored,